Good afternoon, guys. It is one of the saddest days in beekeeping when you got to clean up dead hives. 4 colonies I had, one of them made it. Thankful I made it through with one, because I can split that and make a few more. I'm just kind of going through the dead outs and cleaning up the frames, just brushing the dead bees off into the top covers, and I'm dumping them in the compost pile. One colony, my best colony, didn't make it through the end of January, and I wasn't sure why. It was actually the first one that I took apart today. I went through it. Doesn't seem to be a lot of mites. I saw a few, but not many on the dead bees. Plenty of honey. I actually pulled a full honey super that wasn't touched at all off of that colony, and I'll put that in the freezer. But I'm just kind of going through these and cleaning them up, and I'm going to seal them up. I brought some 3/4 inch stock in my saw, so I'll just cut some pieces and close off the entrances so nothing can get into them. But yeah, there's been a lot in the news lately about bees. A lot of beekeepers lost everything this winter. All over the country. It's not just isolated to the Northeast. We're in Vermont, so of course we have a tough time anyway because it's so cold. These guys, this colony in particular, this was a swarm last year, and it actually swarmed on me at the end of the summer too. But they were built up nicely. This frame's not quite drawn out near the edge, but they had tons of honey on board. This is the second deep. This is the top deep. They made it through all the way to the end of February. I had a hard candy board on top, had insulated top cover, had them wrapped with tar paper. Really thought I did everything that I could possibly do to get these guys through. These were treated with Apigard, which is a thymol based mite treatment. That being said, I am seeing a lot of mites in this one. And these guys were treated, I think I treated them twice. I'd have to go back and look at my notes. Surprised to see as many mites as I do. I'll link up some YouTube videos. There's some good ones out there from people that know a lot more about it than I do. It's definitely a tough day in beekeeping when you got thousands of dollars invested in these. I started beekeeping as a hobby. I needed something to do that was a little bit different, and then it kind of, like a lot of things do, it just trying to cover the cost of buying equipment and the bees themselves, because a good colony, nucleus colony, which is what I usually purchase, they're about $225, $200 to $225 depending on where you get them, and it's quite an investment. I bought 2 last year, and of the 2, my best colony was the first one to perish, which, like I said, I'm baffled. I can't figure out why. They had tons of honey on board. Doesn't appear to be a mite issue in that colony. I only saw 2 mites when I was going through the whole thing. There probably were more in there, but it didn't appear to be a high mite load like the last one I took apart. But yeah, it's a significant investment, and you definitely don't want to see your bees die. Strangely enough, what I considered my weakest colony is now my only colony. They made it through. They actually had very minimal treatment as far as mites go because they were just small all year. They did build up a lot of honey in the fall. They had plenty of honey on board. I haven't been into that colony yet because it's just not warm enough. That's the one over here, which I'll put some footage in of that colony. Warm days, they've been pretty active, so I'm hopeful. They've got a gallon feeder on 1-to-1 sugar water right now. It's been warm enough during the day that they've taken down about 2/3 of it, so I'm hopeful that they'll make it. But I'm just gonna keep going through these, and this is just opened this one, so you're seeing this for the first time just like I am. Just kind of cleaning everything up as I go, taking any burr comb off and getting it ready. I mean, this is solid honey. This is the top deep, like I said, and it is just both sides, wall-to-wall honey. I'm going to seal these up for now just so no rodents or bugs or anything get into these. I may pull all the good honey frames and throw them in the freezer so I can feed it back to them, because I'm definitely not one to give up on beekeeping, but it is very discouraging. Leave a comment below if you're into beekeeping and you've maybe lost bees. I lost my only colony last year. Did not make it through January. I made it a lot further this year than I did with that one. Leave a comment. I'm just curious. People kind of need to stick together, and maybe we can figure it out. And again, almost completely full of honey. And these guys had made it all the way through to the candy board, so I'm assuming, yeah, it looks like they ate the center out. And it was a cold winter here in Vermont, so that definitely keeps them balled up in a tight cluster in the middle, and they kind of chimney up through it, which is why I put that feeder board on top. And they consumed, I would say, about 80% of it. I don't know if you can see it right here in front of me. That's what's left of it. So they did eat it, and there was still plenty of food in there. I'm really bummed that they didn't make it. But like I said, I'm not one to give up on anything that I start and commit to, and I'm very committed to this at this point. I've been selling honey in our farm store, like I said, just to cover the cost of everything, essentially. I think I broke even, which is good. I only harvested one honey super. That kind of shows you the potential. We're in a tourist area, and honey and maple syrup and things like that really sell well for us. Yeah, these are stripped right out of honey. They're dry, just dry comb. There's some dead bees. But just that one honey super alone, I think I haven't looked at the sales numbers, but I was figuring it was valued, that one honey super, at about $800 in retail value. So it's definitely got some potential. For me, though, I'm happy covering my cost on it. I hate to see my bees die. Really like to be able to keep them alive and do everything I can to do that. Just trying to sweep all the dead bees, any that I can get off, into the top cover, so I can just dump them in the compost pile and not have a bunch of dead bees out here attracting rodents and all those things. But yeah, the whole center of this is stripped, and that's still got some honey on the center of this one. I did find my queen in my first colony too, which is, and she was a marked queen. So she's got a red dot on her. It was actually green was last year's color, but she is last year's queen. We just didn't have a red marking pen, but I wanted to mark her, so that's what she got. She got a red dot. There's actually a little bit of brood in this frame. And I noticed that on my best colony too. They did have a little bit of brood going when they died. I'm just keeping an eye out for that queen. I don't see any mites in this colony. The last one that I took apart was pretty heavily loaded with them. Apigard, which is what I used to treat these last year, is a thymol based mite treatment. It's a natural organic treatment. It's not a harsh chemical, which I prefer to use natural treatments if I can. I mean, even better if your bees are naturally resistant, but we're not there yet. I'm just cleaning these up as I go. Again, there's a little bit of brood, a little bit of cap brood here, just a tiny bit. So they were trying. There's actually a bunch of dead bees right down in the cells too, which typically would indicate that they starved. There was a lot of candy left on top, and the cluster died in the very top. This is the top of the colony, and there were dead bees all over this when I took it apart. There was still plenty of candy there. I don't know. Like I said, I'm thankful to have made it through with one colony. Good thing is, when I do get more bees, or maybe do some splits from my remaining colony, this drawn comb is like gold. This really helps them a huge amount, because they will use that. The comb's all in really nice shape. I don't see any signs of any sort of diseases or anything. Now this little cluster of bees here, but you can see where they had chewed they're like dead right in place too, but they've chewed all the cappings off and eaten all this honey. I had to walk back and get my bee brush because I was destroying the comb trying to get them out of there with my hive tool. Plenty of honey left in here. I mean, if they do cluster away from the honey, which there's a cluster right here and there's plenty of honey there. It just doesn't make any sense. But if they do cluster away from it, they can eat the middle out of the honeycomb, and then not be able to, with it being too cold, they can't get spread out to the edges to get into the good stuff. This is the very edge frame. Looks like these guys probably died pretty early on because they're deteriorated a little bit. And again, that whole side is solid honey. I didn't see the queen, and this was not a marked queen, so there's a chance that she was in there and I missed her, or she might have died. Something might have happened to her, and that might have been the end of the colony. I always like to know why things happen. Well, anyway, I'm just going to continue on with this and get this cleaned up, and then just block my entrances off for now, just so nothing can get in there. But thank you for watching, and hopefully your bees made it and are doing well, and happy beekeeping. Have a great day.